Welcome on back, everyone. Today is part 2 of the Chaos Space Marine Pile of Shame. Now, I can see I got my bigger, really big palette out. Got to wash my other one up. And instead of doing up 5 guys at a time, I figured I'll do 10 up at a time. At least with the first base coat. And of course, some heavy weapon guys today. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. But yeah, just enjoy the time lapse. So, the first base coat down on the first 10. Then do Absolution Green for all their weaponry. And then move on to any horn details. And it's going to be primary colors of, well, sorry, solid colors from there. My brush good, like so. And then we begin. Well, it's been almost a month later. Life kicks in and does mysterious things. But I finally got to the point where I want to talk about what I'm doing with these two here, because they got that old school morphine demon power thing going on. Kind of doohickey. So, you've seen my, what's called again, Hellbrute, with that purpley demon flesh on it, but still a humanoid like face in the front, right? I'm almost wondering if I should do that same skin tone for the faces here, but instead of going over in Gravelord Grey and then touching it back up, if I should go over in that purple alchemy instead, and then relayer the skeleton bone, what's it called? Yeah, the skeleton bone on top of the flesh will leave in some of this purple, and then kind of just to help show that transition, right? And we'll do more so on this guy's arm because that is just crazy. So let's begin with some skeleton bone. It's still like wet, but like at a very, very weird state. Oh, starting to come out now. Excellent. Some anyway. Still can't get the two balls to move in this. And if I do, not too well. Still, just doing a little bit here. Let's get this mixed together really well. Also been noticing when I'm doing some details, I'm pulling them close to my face this side, and it's kind of coming off camera. So to kind of counter that, I'm going to bring this down a little further. About here, maybe. That way I can still see what I'm doing, and you guys can see what I'm doing also. I'm also leaving the horns alone at this point, because I don't really any like bone or horns. I just use some pallid bone speed paint. But I want to do that afterwards. And knowing my way of painting, it's like I'm painting it for the tabletop board. I don't really care about painting in the eyes, separate colors or details. Just going to go right over everything. Whew. Still a little dry down in here. So there's the second one done up. I am going over the, go back, getting tongue-tied. I'm going to go back over the paint I just did because it's still coming out a little pasty thick. And I find it with a damp damp brush and just a touch of this, go back over. This kind of help get rid of that thick consistency this paint's been having issues with. I don't know if it's something they had from the factory, from the batch, or something else, but I was able just to remedy this just by gently going over top. And it does smooth it out quite nice in the end. Now, one thing I notice is, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've painted up these little plates here off his shoulder, thinking, okay, this part of his armor is no longer going to be available because he's got a big mutant arm. And it's also a bit down here, and then across the knuckles. I'm going to just get in between them and go back over them with metal later. Or some kind of metal metallic paint color. Probably the same one I've been using, gunmetal. Yeah, okay. I also left his mouth open, thinking, oh, well, I could go over it with the same paint, but no, I'll leave that white, let Purple Alchemy do some detailing inside his mouth, and maybe just touch up the top of his teeth a little bit, or leave him alone, depending on what I see. And as you can see, I already did this guy back up on his head and smoothed out that paint. So this is going to dry nice. So now, I'm just going to go over the model real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything, and retouch up a few spots, because some of the spots went a little too thin. Then the back of his head here, I'm going to just apply another slightly watery damp coat on the side of his face. The other model, I looked it over, he's doing good. It's just this one here is being a bit of a nuisance. Okay, time to take this Purple Alchemy out. Gonna make a little dot on my dry palette, of course. Now for this, I was pretty much using my standard brush for most of these models. I'm going to whip out my fine detail brush by Citadel to have a little more control, because I want to go a little heavy in some spots, but at the same time, I want to watch it around the horns on both these models. But then I'll switch back to my standard brush for this arm, because I'm not going to focus too much with this little brush on that entire face of the arm. So let's just go ahead and get that part of the model there. I want to go in the eye sockets with this. Nice. And yeah, gotta go around the horn. Shoot. Did not mean to go splat right there. Okay, well, get the speed paint off the brush. Just gonna try and scoot this in. What root beer? Shooting a film, but girl. And get in here, get his cheeks. You know what? Let's just get this in here. I originally just wanted to go in the recesses, but then I realized, like the other heads, I go back over with the skeleton bone. So let's just get the majority of him done up anyway, I guess. That's most of his skin on this one. A couple of spots here that I didn't quite get. Okay. Oh, right here. So let him dry. Give him like a good hour or two, which is an unnecessary thing for the speed paint 1.0 they're calling them. And I'm gonna dare this guy with my big standard brush. He's not gonna be so bad as that one, but then I realized, And over here. So I gave these an all-nighter to dry, because why not? My girlfriend called, and I'm like, oh, let's chat for a while, and that took up time. But yeah, that's life. So moving on, I'm going to try and repaint over most of the stuff while keeping this that speed paint in the recesses as best I can. So where is it? Skeleton bone. Get a fresh bit out of the bottle, and I'm hoping. Get this in without issue. Gonna need a little bit of water here to help rethin this paint down because it's still thick in the bottle. I have to add a dab of medium to it, maybe. Okay, so where am I going here? Let me scoot this up so it doesn't slide on me. Oh, and I've switched to my detail brush from Citadel here instead of using the standard brush. That's not looking too bad. Now, I'm no expert, and it's doing the opposite of what I'm trying to achieve, but it is actually looking out pretty darn good. Obviously, the paint is still a little too watery, but I have to work with it. And as it reactivates the speed point 1.0 version here, it actually ends up absorbing it and pooling it to spots where, well, I was trying to go with the brush anyway. So yeah, it's looking less demony, still semi-human. So I'll leave it at that. It's not bad, actually. Learned something new. Now, can I get the same results with this guy? Soon find out. Does not turn out too bad. Just gonna add a little bit more back into the back of the head. Around the back side of his neck there. Underside. A bit more up here. Alright, so let that dry, see how that looks, and I'll go back over with another wet coat. Surprisingly, it's staying brighter on the higher spots, which is good. Sweet. How's this guy's head looking? He's not looking too bad. Go back over him in a bit. Alright, it's been about an hour. That looks pretty good. But I'm going to go back over with another coat. Because why not? Just make it a little less demonic-y. Maybe I should leave it there now. I'll do another coat. Get the heads for sure. But I'm going to leave the eyes that dark purple. After giving it some drying time, it actually looks pretty darn good. I did go back over with a couple more slight coats in some of the spots just to help thicken up just a little more. The heads, mainly this one here compared to the other one, it's a little more grainy from the paint. So I'm thinking add some medium to that skeleton bone, I guess, later. But overall, it's doing what I want it to do. Actually, it's doing a little too good. Like, it literally just, the reactivation can absorb some more of it in there and blend the pigments in even better, so that's always nice. Wonder if I can pull that off on Speed Paint 2.0 while it's still wet, though. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Anywho, I got their arm shoulder pads done up. Just gonna go around now and touch up these back of his hand knuckles in metal, that piece in metal, and then paint up their horns. And then I just do a light shade, or sorry, a light tone over all the armor bits, and then figure out what I'm going to do with the bases. I want to pull away from the wintry wasteland theme and go with like a, well, still wintry theme, but some kind of like city rubble or something. I don't know. I'll think of something. Maybe a bit of snow and grass, perhaps. Anyway, see the big old 10 of them here in just a moment. Alright, so I've watched a few YouTube videos on how to make your own texture paint, because I'm pretty sure there's more to it than just putting some paint and sand in a pot. And the easiest way is to, well, I do have some with me, some drywall mud. Now, I don't need a whole lot of drywall mud, and I'm chipping stuff off of that, to put into this, so where is my tool? There's my tool. I need that. And I'm going to use, I had a better, there it is. No, wait, there it is. Nice, stiff, plastic tester's paintbrush. So I figured I'll go with burnt umber to make a nice wet, muddy looking mix. Put it on the bases, see how it dries, and then add some snow effects to it. So, first things first. Hope this draw is still good. And also they point out, ooh. We're not using this one. That's full of mold. Sealed up. Grew mold. Okay, plan B. Oh boy. Okay, so I guess plan B will be my own concoction of paint, some PVA glue, and of course, some sand. Oh, still have some of this guy left. Got some bigger courses in it. That's alright. This is probably going to go horribly wrong. Let's give that a mix. A little more paint. So this dollar store glue is already pretty watered enough from the bottle. This glue is this thicken it a little bit. Just add a little more. A little more PVA. Right, let's frig up one model, see how this goes. I definitely think I need more sand though. So we'll put him aside to dry. Add a little more sand. Add some more sand. And this just is basic dollar store stuff, by the way. You get them in like taller bottles now, and different colors, thicknesses. Okay, there we go. That's looking a little better. Let's grab this guy. Still feels a little watery though. It's like, oh no, all that hard work put in the boot trims. That's okay. We'll get to see it later still, too. Get that ladybug out of my hair. Okay, I need my finer point brush. Well, it's a brand new day. Let's see how things went. Well, as expected, it's not the greatest without the putty. There is a bit of like diluted, like, that's what the word I'm looking for is. It's got that muddy look to it, and with the rocks or the sand particles there, you can see where the glue kind of cooped around it. Still, not the best. But, whatever. As I go through this, I'll probably get more at the bottom. Get more sand in there. I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt to go back and do another build-up. More so on this one. But yeah, I'll finish these guys up in their bases and then give them a nice varnish coat, and call it a day. And then start filming the next one and hopefully have it out by next week after this one uploads.